Chelsea absolutely smashed Wolves with Noni Madueke bagging a hat-trick. He says he hates Wolves. I think he loves Wolves. I think he's got something to take away from Wolves today. Absolutely ripping through them, as Chelsea did, particularly in that second half. And it's a performance we can cherish, Chelsea fans. We haven't had a lot of joy in the last few years, particularly in games where we score a lot of goals. We've struggled in front of goals. Today, everything was slotting in. 6 goals away from home at Wolves, who usually aren't the worst defensively. You know, they lost 2-0 to Arsenal last week in a tighter affair, but we absolutely ripped them to shreds today. And I am so happy for Noni Madueke. It's one of those, I actually thought he'd thrive in this game, to be honest. He is someone that, he has that kind of attitude that exudes an element of confidence and ability in terms of backing yourself. Someone who might get booed or feel a bit tentative on the pitch, that's not him. He's not going to care that he's getting booed. If anything, he's going to do better. And he did do better. His finishing today was excellent. Right foot, left foot, it didn't matter. And Cole Palmer, it's kind of gone under the radar because of the whole Noni Madueke situation in completely desecrating all over Wolves. But 3 assists and a goal today. I mean, it's just normal Cole things, isn't it, guys? He's just lobbing keepers from 25 yards out of nothing. He's just putting them on a plate for Noni. Because the weight of the pass is perfect for all those goals as well. Like, he was at the epicenter. I thought Jackson was brilliant. Going forward today, Chelsea were excellent. We were exquisite. We were a joy to watch. We really were. João Felix even bagging a goal on his return to the club, coming off the bench, slotting that in the top bin. Neto setting that up with a delicious cutback that was just asking to be slotted away. And João Felix did just that. But defensively, we definitely have some things to talk about because that first half in particular, it wasn't some amazing, enjoyable watch. It put us to the test, to be honest, as fans. It gave you serious nerves. It's something that we've had a problem with. Look, last season, make no mistake, people might look at it as, oh, currently Chelsea have a defensive issue. Chelsea let in their record number of Premier League goals last season. Chelsea's defence was appalling. And we've got Fofana back, and we want to add some sturdiness to it, but it's not quite there yet. The first goal, well, let's talk about the first half. Caicedo, what night out had he been on? Caicedo, second half he was good, but first half, it was like he was playing for Wolves. He could not stop giving the ball away. Loses the ball, Wolves break. We've gone one up thanks to Jackson being a good poacher at the back post on a corner, but a goal felt like it was coming for Wolves. They had one chalked off. We're left wide open. Caicedo and Enzo, one of them has to foul him, Enzo in particular, but Caicedo giving the ball away was worse. The guy is so open on the left. No one's with him. Gusto's not with him. I feel like he's had a slow start to the season. Like, defensively, I am not sold yet. Let's see how it develops, obviously. But can we talk about the keeper? Because he dived out the way, guys. Now, Robert Sanchez is someone I would liken to a scarecrow in goal. Like, he's not going to do anything, right? But I don't think Scarecrow does it justice. He's fully jumped out of the way of the shot. It's not a penalty where, you pick a side and you stick to it. The guy's shooting, just go with the ball. Go with the ball if he hits it too well. And he hit it well, but it's gone down the middle and you've dived out the way. What are you doing? However, he showed why he's being picked. Because I know a lot of people are asking questions, myself too, in terms of how bad can Jorgensen be if he's not starting over Sanchez? We don't rate Sanchez. We've seen him pop it on hands a shot into the goal for Kovacic. We saw today him jump out the way. But the ball he plays to Jackson, who then flicks it on to Palmer, who just dinks the keeper from 25 yards, is a sensational pass. And there were a number of times, actually, that he was getting our build-up play started quickly or counter started quickly, particularly in that second half. So there's an understanding of why he's being picked in that regard. But in terms of just being an actual keeper, a keeper that saves shots, old school, I am so nervous with this man. I feel like most shots are going to go in. And the second goal we concede, look, Noni shouldn't give that free kick away, but I'm not going to be knocking Noni today, realistically. The guy had a sensational game. Even in the first half, he had the beating of Nori for fun. Nori could have had a second yellow, to be honest, during that second half. But Noni felt a threat all game. And the fact that he gave away that free kick felt like, didn't need to be doing that. But defensively, it was a mess as well. I thought the centre-backs on that were really poor in terms of Wes and Levi Colwill, or Levi Colwill, rather. But let's talk about that second half. I mean, that was obliteration, guys. That was reminiscent of, remember when we went away to Wolves with Frank and we won 5-2 and Tammy got a hat-trick? Well, this time, it's Clear Lake's young ones and it's Noni Madueke grabbing that hat-trick. And it was actually 6-2. So it was an improvement in that regard. We haven't won away at Wolves since that game. That was September 2019. It's almost 5 years we haven't won at Molineux. It's a bogey ground for us. I was there in that 0-0 under Tuchel years ago where we had like 4 players on the bench because we all had COVID and injuries and the Premier League said we should still play. Pulisic went for on goal. We should have scored, actually. But either way, we've had a lot of poor games at Wolves. That was one of the better ones. We've lost a lot of games there. Neto scoring last-minute winners. But this time, it was our time to shine in the sun and fight back. And I liked that. I think that's a key thing to take away from today. Not just how excellent we looked going forward in general, first and second half, like it felt like we were a threat at all times. But it was also the fact that they did get pegged back twice against a side away from home with crowds up for it. It was a fiery game. There was a lot of kicking off. There was a lot of Jackson squaring up. There was a lot of Mascara squaring up. There was all sorts going on, left, right, and rhubarb. But Chelsea managed to hold their heads to a degree and keep doing what they're good at. And what they're good at is not defending at the moment. That's certainly not it. And do I think the Enzo Caicedo pivot is something that definitely needs work? Yeah. Yeah, because I think Enzo pushes on a lot and you're just left so isolated with Caicedo sat there. Like, there needs to be a bit more rigidity to that. You know, Enzo involved in build-up, but not joining the attack so much. However, he did nick the ball, I think, for the 5th goal in doing that. I think he even won the free kick for the 3rd goal that we kind of broke away from quickly. But the reason it felt like Wolves were really getting in at us in that first half was through the midfield and the defence. Like, it's definitely something we need to work at. It's definitely something that setup-wise we need to become more solid, more concrete. You know, we need to build that resiliency that Chelsea were always famous for a number of years, because we don't quite have that. We had that more with last week against City, because I was saying this last week when we were being criticised massively for our performance, and I thought there were things to take, and I thought today we saw some of those things. But one thing I did take from last week was that we were more solid. We felt more solid against City than we did against Wolves, genuinely. And I think that was the lack of Lavia today. Like, Lavia and Caicedo allows Enzo to go forward. You don't have to worry anywhere near as much. But it would also take out a Noni Madueke, who was brilliant today. So it's something to think about. We've got options, but it's nice that we have options. Usually we're sat there, scurrying, looking for options because everyone's injured. At the moment, we missed Lavia, but we did have other things to cover today, and it led to us winning 6-2, so we can't really complain, can we? But there are just things that we need to look at, and we need to improve on, and Enzo Maresca will look at. He's not a stupid guy. He'll have seen those errors. He would have seen the fact that we were so open in that first half, the fact that we felt so susceptible. Like, realistically, I can't be alone in this. Me and my dad are watching that, right? We're 4-5-2 up, and I'm like, we should win. I don't know though. Like, back in the day, in the Mourinho years, I remember whenever we go to the bridge or whatever, like especially during that period where we'd never lost at the bridge, we'd go 1-0 up and you were like, cool, game done. Game done. Nothing's going to happen now. We'll get a second, that'll be that. But with these current Chelsea sides, you go 5-2 up and you're thinking, like, just don't concede because I know how this ends. So it's a very different experience in that sense, but I can't knock what the experience was in watching our attacking play. Like, it was just perfect. The flicks from Jackson involved in some of our build-up. Palmer just perfectly waiting there for Noni. Vice versa. Not the finish from Palmer as well. Jackson getting a real poacher's goal from a corner. We don't even score from set pieces. We managed to score from a set piece. And then the Neto cutback for João. I mean, it's the venom that João Felix hits it with is perfect. But the cutback is something that I think is important to highlight in this game, because Neto came on at half-time for Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, we know Mudryk's struggled a lot, and he'll show you glimpses of what a player he could be if he was coached correctly, if his brain was almost trained for his decision-making, because it's not there yet. But that's the kind of thing that you'd see Mykhailo Mudryk get to the byline, and he'd get the cutback wrong, or he'd fall over his feet, or the pass would hit a defender, or he'd cut it back to where no one was. That wasn't the case with Neto. It was exquisite. It was delivered with perfection. And at the end, do you know what? It could have even been 7-2 or so. I thought João, I feel, went to play it to Pedro almost like, not just because of his Portuguese mate, but it's also the fact that it would have been Neto's first goal against his old club. It would have been fun. And I think there was an element of João Felix's thinking there of like, I'm just going to try and play it to him. And he got the pass wrong. But if he'd gone the other side with Noni, like if it was 1-0, I'd have expected him to give it to Noni there. And Noni would have had number 4. It would have been 7-2. But yeah, it was pretty fun. Like, I'm looking forward to rewatching that game as well. I'm sure all Chelsea fans are. And just enjoying our weekend, guys. Because we've had some good results. Like, Newcastle have dropped points at Bournemouth, which is great. You know, Newcastle are going to be in and around that fighting for top 4. United losing to Brighton's great, because United are going to be in and around that vicinity. Spurs won yesterday, obviously, but they did draw at home to Leicester. Like, we played City, we lost to City. Okay, that happens. Most of those teams will go and lose to City. But even someone like Villa. Now, I wanted Villa to beat Arsenal yesterday. Of course I did. No one wants Arsenal winning the league. We need everyone taking points off Arsenal. Couldn't care who it is, right? But Villa are going to be there or thereabouts. So you can take a silver lining from that. A lot of results were positive yesterday for Chelsea, because it's going to be a long season. You know, these points will all add up. And if we're going away and smashing teams like Wolves 6-2, and okay, we had a pretty balanced pretty competitive game against City where the differences were Haaland took his chances and Jackson didn't, so be it. Like, it's a good thing. It was a really good win today because the noise has been loud, not just from the media, from our own fans in places, but from other fans. Everyone's looking to get a kick on Chelsea, and I don't understand this. I don't want that. Look at these they've got all these players. Oh, look, they're getting rid of Sterling. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want us to keep the 40 players? Do you want to sell players? Well, I don't really know what you want from this anyway, but everyone's looking to get their kick in. We are the talk of the town, naturally. We're the Chels, so it's always the case. But we needed to quiet the noise. And nothing quiets noise more than a scintillating display like today. Like, to go away from home and smack a team up 6-2, particularly when you were under the cosh in that first half. Like, 2-2, you've let 2 leads squander, and then you go and just put your stamp on the game. And Noni Madueke put his stamp all over Wolves. Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to be calling it shit anymore. I'm sure he'll take some good memories away from Wolverhampton. It's one of those days that you're very grateful for, because I feel a draw or a loss today, the negativity would only grow, the noise would only grow, and that's stressful, for not just a fan, but like Enzo Maresca is trying to build something here, and day one he's already under massive pressure, because that's the size of the job, and that's what's going, and everything that's going on in the background sort of puts him under a microscope. So a game like today is a good way to ease the pressure off, and it's a good way to say, yeah, people can reflect now, that City game wasn't bad, and I said that at the time, and I stood by that when I rewatched it. And that was the case. You saw those glimpses going into this game, and we're going to continue to see them in the remainder of the run-in, because realistically, we've got a nice bunch of fixtures now. Wolves away was probably the most tough. In the next 4 or 5, Wolves away was the one I was like, I'm worried about that. We need to win that, because this could build some serious momentum, and what a way to do so. Now, if we can get that defence coached, if we can sort out what's going on in midfield, if we can sort out our outgoings, because still there's a lot to do. I'm gutted to see Brozier's moves fallen through. Maybe Ipswich have woken up and realised, they need to put down the crack pipe, because realistically, 30 million on Brozier was nuts. Absolutely nuts. I know that was the case if they stayed up, but like, what if he wasn't a big factor in them staying up and they had to pay it? It was a mental deal. So hopefully we can try and squeeze out around that. But we've got rid of Big Rom. That is fantastic. It's a joyous weekend, Chelsea fans. We won 6-2 and Big Rom's finally gone, and he's gone permanently. Like, that's wicked. That's great. If we get Kepa out the door tomorrow, wow, what a few days. What a few days that would be. But yeah, we do have players to get rid of. Sterling looks like Chilwell, etc. So it'll be interesting to see what happens throughout the rest of the window, whether we make any additions. A keeper's still a big one for me. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know if it's... Centre-backs is a bit of a worry, I have to admit. Like, I can't ignore that today. There were elements of the game that definitely need to improve. I don't know if it was just coach elements or if it was actually some of the personnel, because it's been a couple of times where that's happened. But, Colwell and Fofana have had their injuries, so maybe I'll give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I feel like Chelsea have earned that today. We're going to be positive in that regard. But, yeah, I'm very happy. I'm sure you're very happy. Enjoy your weekends, guys. Enjoy your week. Because there's going to be less noise, less people crying about us. Although I'm sure somehow they'll find a way. But yeah, make sure you hit like and subscribe, guys. That helps me out a lot. It lets YouTube know this is the Chelsea place to be. This is the football place to be. It's your place to be. Up the Chelsea.